Aliens Explored is a podcast exploring famous and obscure cases of UFO sightings, alien abductions and other strange events from both a believing and a sceptical perspective whilst keeping an open mind. I'm Stu Jackson, a professional actor and amateur ufologist with a particular interest in the crop circle phenomenon. I'll be debating that otherworldly visitations are real. The truth is out there.
And I'm Neil Kelly. I'm a professional actor as well and used to work for the military as an intelligence analyst. I'll be arguing from a more doubtful point of view. I mean, it's all a bit far-fetched, isn't it?
In 1995, a 17-minute black and white film depicting a secret medical examination of an alien was released by London-based entrepreneur Ray Santilli. It was later revealed that Ray Santilli, amongst others, recreated scenes from a video he had seen earlier. Some still believe this footage to be genuine, whilst others decry it as pure fake. Join myself and Neil as we try to uncover the truth of the Alien Autopsy video on Aliens Explored.
Hello listeners, and welcome back to Aliens Explored, your weekly podcast looking at UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomena and related strange phenomena here at ground level. I'm one of your hosts, Neil Kelly.
And I'm your other host, Stu Jackson.
And this week we're going to be looking at the Alien Autopsy film.
Well, the original video, yes, not the so there was a 2006 film about the original video, but it's the original video that we're looking at.
The original film, which was in 1947, supposedly an authentic autopsy on the body of an alien recovered from the 1947 crash of a flying disc near Roswell, and there was a film indeed made in 2006 at Ealing Studios.
Yes, British comedy.
A British comedy called Alien Autopsy, starring Ant and Dec. For our non-British listeners, that would be Ant McPartlin and Declan Donnelly, who are more commonly a TV presenter duo. But,
they started as actors. They were on a show up in the northeast. I remember when I started very, very early on in my acting career. They were, I think they were child actors at the time, making quite a name for themselves on a show called Biker Grove.
I remember it well.
You remember Biker Grove? Well, that's how they got their name. Yeah. It's only later they became talk show hosts and presenters,
but have been for a very long time and are very well established. And you can't get away from them, whether it's on a talent show or I'm a celebrity.
Famous for that and drink driving now, alleged drink driving.
But also some big names in the film: Bill Pullman, Harry Dan Steaton, and Omid Jalili, who's probably more of a big name here, and Jimmy Carr, of course. Not more known as a comedian, but yes. So, a film was made about the events around this 1947 old footage being presented as genuine.
It was a comedy dramatization. I'm going to say. Now I'm going to say one opinion about that film. It's an entertaining film. I've got to say I have watched it.
Right.
But by putting two main actors in it who are known for comedy and presenters, as you rightly say, by making it a comedy, actually it takes all the seriousness out of the entire subject matter.
I think
it's quite a, it's almost like a disinformation.
So they're running interference on the whole thing.
I think so.
Could they be part of the conspiracy? Because this has been sponsored by Ealing Studios. Are they being sponsored by the Pentagon now?
I'm not going that far down the rabbit hole. But let's not forget we have talked in previous episodes about the interference from sort of major movie studios and production companies in trying to sort of acclimatise people. That was my argument. So it wouldn't be the first time that they had got involved in such a thing. So I can certainly see it as a possibility, but anyway, that's that movie, not what we're talking about. So the one we're talking about is a 17-minute black and white film, which was allegedly an alien autopsy from the beings who were recovered from the Roswell crash, the famous Roswell, New Mexico crash of 1947. It was released in 1995. And first shown on Fox Television's Fact or Fiction, hosted by Jonathan Frakes, because I'm a big Star Trek fan. So Jonathan Frakes, of course, famously on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
But Fox Television, that famous deep well of reliable information.
I know, right? Now, I'm going to. So I imagine that the first argument you're going to give against this is the fact that it's a fake, and it is a fake. And I acknowledge it's a fake.
It's a fake. I mean, this film fell into the hands of an entrepreneur called Ray Santilli, who said it was given to him by a retired military cameraman who wished to remain anonymous.
Well, and sold. It wasn't given. It was sold for quite a lot.
It's supplied to him. So it's supplied to him for an amount of money. Well, I don't know if he made the whole story up, then no money changed hands because the cameraman didn't exist. But he claimed that the film had deteriorated to the extent that he'd actually reconstructed parts of it. And I suppose those are the bits we.
Yes.
Large parts of it.
Well, yes, he does say that there are some of the original frames that they managed to save that are in this video. But what now? And do you know what, Ray Santilli? If you listen to this, please do get in touch, because my question is, why won't you specify which frames they are?
That's a good question, Ray. I hope you'll respond.
For what reason are you withholding that information? I mean, it's your information to withhold. I fully acknowledge that. I just want to know what your reasoning is, because it guts the argument for me. If you said, look, these are the, I don't know. That's something that I do struggle with. But yeah, did you? So in doing your research for this today, Neil, did you watch the 17 minutes footage?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I have seen it before. Right,
okay. So you're already familiar with it. I mean, it was pretty famous at the time.
Yeah,
it was. To be fair. And having heard of it before, so I mean, obviously it was a massive thing when it came out, especially in the UFO community, when we all believed it to be genuine, and certainly for over 10 years we believed it to be genuine footage, but there are some people who still do, it's got to be said, who still say no, it's genuine footage and it's all disinformation, they're trying to make us believe it's not real. I might be quite extreme in some of my views, but I don't believe that. I do believe it's a recreation.
Do you believe that any of it was original?
What I believe is that there was an original film that Ray Santilli saw, and that was recreated. Whether there's any original frames in, I mean, bear in mind there's frames in there that are completely whited out, so those might be the ones that he's saying are included. I don't know. I mean, without knowing which frames he's saying, it's very hard to say. But there's a few things. So for me, one of the...
So, I mean, it's a 17-minute film, but Santilli said that they're admitting that the film was actually a reconstruction containing, as they said, only a few frames from the original 22 rolls of film, and each one averaging 4 minutes in length. So that's 24 of those 50-foot Super 8 films that people would have for home movies. 22 of those, and out of that they edited that down to a 17-minute film, and that's now deteriorated. Well, does film deteriorate? I mean, if you even
yes,
really.
That's a big thing in filmmaking. Was the deterioration of celluloid film. But it has to be kept airtight. And
this wasn't celluloid film. This is modern day film, isn't it? It's not the old stuff, the highly explosive stuff. Is it?
Well, this I'm saying celluloid. I might be using the wrong term, but even your footage out of your camera. I mean, your pocket camera that you used to use a roll of film with. You probably remember yourself. If you left the film in the camera too long, it knackered it.
There's that, yeah, because enough light would seep in, I guess, to ruin it. But if you exposed film that you've actually taken, my brother had a cine camera for a while, a clockwork cine camera which shot standard 8, and he couldn't afford to shoot that much because it was expensive. And I think my mum had a Super 8 for a while. So we're talking back in the 1970s. Well, that film is still good. 50 years on, that film's still good.
It's not been kept in a desert.
No, it's been kept in a shoebox in an attic, but it's still good. So unless he's really taken bad, or unless I mean, I don't know when modern day, that what we would have seen as film became film, when they stopped. I mean, it's very different from the kind of stuff that they used that Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton would have used. That was celluloid film that probably had a much shorter life.
Well, that's it, and it's what would have been used in 1947.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because that's when
I suppose
claiming it was shot.
I mean, do you know what I'm using as my reference? I'm using the Quentin Tarantino film Inglourious Bastards, where they decide they're going to lock all these Nazis inside a cinema and burn them, and they're using highly explosively flammable celluloid film, which is stacked up in a great heap behind the screen, which they're going to put a match to.
I've never seen that film, so I'm afraid I can't comment.
But this would have been in 1944, so it's not much of a leap for me to suppose that in 1947 the military was still using that kind of film that probably deteriorated. Actually, if you look at the recipe for celluloid film, which involves dissolving rags into a solution of sulfuric acid and nitric acid, it's almost the same recipe as for making gun cotton, the first truly high explosive. That's how explosive this stuff is. Yeah,
that sounds like something from the Anarchist Cookbook, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I think you've just argued.
Yeah. So okay, this film. Yeah. I accept that this was made on the same kind of film.
The only thing I do know is that the film was fine until it was exposed to the air, and that's when it started to deteriorate. But it deteriorated very rapidly. So Ray Santilli was shown this film by this guy who had kept. The story goes, he took this footage. He was instructed to go along with his camera to take lots of footage, which he did. Then he was sat on this footage, and he was waiting for someone to come and say, right, okay, we've come to pick up these rolls of film, and just nobody ever did. And it fell through the cracks. Now, as a military man, I'm sure you can understand that happening.
Yes.
Going back to the 1940s, even more possible, I would say, especially when they're now, remember how the government was flim-flamming over, oh, it's an actual UFO, oh, no, it isn't, it's a weather balloon, oh, no, it's not, it's something, it's light from Mars, over a gas swamp or something stupid, So they were sort of flim-flamming back and forth with the press. So something like that getting overlooked, I can really easily see happening. This guy doesn't know what to do with it. I don't know how Ray Santilli got in touch with him or how it came about that they spoke to each other. But after seeing this footage, the story is that Ray Santilli then went off to basically raise the money to find it. And it took him so long to raise it that in this time, the film had deteriorated. So he recreated it. Now, Ray Santilli was an entrepreneur. I mean, that's a nice way of saying he did a bit of everything.
Yeah, entrepreneur is a very a barbed term, really, isn't it?
It can be. But yeah, so he's certainly not an expert in the field. Let's agree on that. Now, the original footage that he presented had been checked out by several people who watched it. Particularly, I'm going to note Cyril Wecht, or
the forensic pathologist who saw the film.
Yes, a forensic pathologist who looked at it and said, yes, those autopsy procedures are correct for the time.
Right.
Now, how would Ray Santilli know how to do it unless he'd seen it done? Bear in mind, this was in the 1990s. You've not got Google.
That's a good question.
For him to recreate it with such accuracy that this Cyril Wecht would be convinced by it. I mean, Cyril Wecht, to be clear, he never said that it was an alien, but he just commented on the procedures and the techniques used. I think he also talked about the tools that were used at the time. So that says to me that Ray Santilli, what he saw, that he must have seen something that was genuine. So there must have been something for him to recreate.
Well, the film was also viewed by a special effects makeup artist called Stan Winston, and a
very
cinematographer,
famous Stan Winston.
Yeah, and a cinematographer called Alan Davio, who were really looking at how authentic the film itself looked. And again, they didn't have a problem with its authenticity. They didn't say, oh yeah, I can see why we've done that trick. They didn't see anything that made them say, no, this is just a complete hammer house of horror hokum. Yeah.
They looked at things like how it was shot. They were looking to see basically if they could spot any special effects. Now, when you're dealing with sort of an alleged alien body, it's really difficult to say whether it's special effects or not, because it's not going to be human. It's going to be different from human. That's pretty much as you can say. But they were also looking at the quality of the film. So different film cameras have different looks to them. And that was more pronounced sort of back in the 40s. But I believe I'm right in saying that Ray Santilli used authentic equipment to make this, so that would have convinced people at the time.
Santilli claimed that the film, he claimed to have viewed the original film in 1992. But it became unusable by the time he made his film in 1995.
3 years.
3 years, but there was already how old? 35-year-old film.
But it had been stored in airtight canisters until he was shown the film. That's when it was open, that's when it was exposed to the air.
Right.
And that's what started its degradation.
So Santilli, the man who's saying, well, I've got this film, but it's degraded and I've replaced, I've reconstructed parts of it that have become unusable. but actually it was me who degraded it.
Well,
if
if someone shows you a film and it degrades because they've taken it out the canister, is it you who has degraded it?
Well, I would have thought, can't you just put it back in the canister and won't that?
But yeah, but
stop it degrading.
No, well, they did, but it's still been exposed to the air. And when you close the canister up, you're putting this humid air inside it. You've broken the seal effectively.
But there's no vacuum pump or anything like that on these things. It would have been put in a canister originally and with just air in it. Or
well,
whatever,
yes, but that's in one particular environment, and whilst the film is still fresh.
Okay, I'm just trying to establish when this film deteriorated. So this film was perfectly okay in 1992, but I'm
not an expert in those things, but I am assured that it does happen. Very
quickly deteriorated, so that by 1995 he'd realised this and had reconstructed the missing bits.
Yes. Obviously not the whole thing, because there was, as you rightly say, 22 canisters at 4 minutes apiece. But he's recreated kind of the main bits, the important bit.
So it's 22 separate canisters.
But a lot of it would have been the cameraman sort of approaching the hangar, going through the offices, maybe taking talking heads from notable people, and none of that is really none of that was the important bit in this. The important bit is the actual. Also, how's it going to recreate an actual genuine person, doing a talking head? Because quickly that would be shown to be fake.
See, I would have thought the easiest way to reconstruct an autopsy, rather than rely on some rapidly deteriorating old film that you hope you can see it enough times to get on board with how it is in order to reconstruct it, you would actually get in an expert who does autopsies and say, we've mocked up this alien. What did they make it out of? It was made out of sheep's brains and all sorts of offal in jam. Can you do an autopsy on that, and we'll film you doing it?
I think you're misunderstanding the timeline here. So he was shown this film in private, in secret.
Yes.
As a look, here it is. It's for sale. You get to see it once. Then I'm putting it away.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy it, you can.
Yeah.
So that's what happens in 1992. He's shown this film. If he wants to see it again, he's got to buy it. So he goes away, spends 3 years trying to raise the money to buy it, manages to get the money, comes back, buys them, then discovers that they've deteriorated.
Yeah, that sounds like an old switcheroo there. Here's the money.
I wouldn't say that's an impossibility. I don't know if I think that's what happened, but I mean, I don't think this cameraman set out to do that. And if it's true that he has included original frames of footage, no, it would be the genuine footage from the camera.
Presumably, he's taken those surviving original frames and transferred them onto a more durable medium.
Well, you know as much as I do, and Ray, if you're listening to this, do let us know. Yes, do you have those original frames somewhere?
Your corner photography shop can take all sorts of old media, can't they? And they can take their old 8mm films and give you an MPEG.
They can indeed.
So, I suppose in talking 1992, it would have either been transferred to a different film format or onto VHS video.
Yeah,
I would guess. Or Laserdisc or something, whatever the...
Laserdisc, I remember Laserdisc.
That's
getting off topic.
Yeah.
That's getting off topic a bit, but okay.
But presumably, so It's not.
But even,
He hasn't just spliced those bits of. Well, you wouldn't be able to, because it'd be a different shaped film, wouldn't it? It would have different tractor holes and all sorts, and it'd be a different. In the same way that you can't play a Super 8 film through a standard 8 camera, it doesn't work.
No. But coming back to your idea that maybe it was switched out and what he received wasn't the genuine thing. Even if that were the case, he's still seen this original thing for him to make the recreation from.
I don't believe that someone. Here's me. This is my job here to say I don't believe. I don't believe that an entrepreneur with no medical training could see an autopsy film once and then recreate it authentically enough to convince a medical expert. I think that when he did his reconstruction, he had people there, or either the person doing it or being advised, or the person doing it being advised by someone who knows how to do autopsies. You cut here and then you cut here and then you pull this out, and so that when a medical expert looks at it, they say, yeah, that looks like that's how I do an autopsy.
Well, we know who was involved in the making of it. I mean, that's the thing. We know everyone involved. None of them have that level of forensic knowledge. And you also, yourself, the more people you get involved in a project, the harder it is to keep quiet.
Yeah.
And he did. He kept this quiet for 10 years.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, there were people right from the outset who claimed it wasn't real, but they didn't come forward with any reasonable argument for it. But yeah, well, let's summarise what we think there. So I think it's safe to say that you don't think this is based on a real. Is that fair to say?
I'm taking this story at face value, and Santilli has said that it was that this film was largely a reconstruction, that he made it. The film that viewers would have seen on Fox TV, or on Eamon Holmes's Eamon Investigates Alien Autopsy, which went out a few days before, in which Eamon Holmes referred to it as a fake, even though he liked to use the word fake, even though Santilli was saying, no, it's reconstruction. I've told you it's a reconstruction. Oh, so you mean a fake? No, I mean a reconstruction.
Yes. Well, that's I suppose the thing. Do you believe it's a fake, or do you believe it's a reconstruction?
So I was just reading about how they reconstructed that, how they made the they used 2 dummy alien bodies over a period of 3 weeks, using casts containing sheep brains set in raspberry jam, chicken entrails and knuckle joints obtained from S.C. Crosby Wholesale Butchers of Smithfield Meat Market, London. Yeah. Humphreys also played the role of the chief examiner in order to allow him to control the effects being filmed. And after the filming, the team disposed of the bodies by cutting them into small pieces and placing them in rubbish bins across London. Yeah, just dumped it in people's bins. That's guerrilla filmmaking, isn't it? You've got to admire that. Yeah,
it is. But where else do you get rid of knuckle joints? But yeah, so the how is less important than the why, I think, in this, because we're acknowledging that this was not genuine footage that we see, but it's the whole. Yeah, is it just like come from his own mind, or has he seen something that he's recreated? What do you think?
I think Santilli is a very, very innovative entrepreneur. He saw a gap in the market, because this story about an alien autopsy had been around for a long time, so it was quite a sensation when he was able to announce, yep, I've got the film and I'll sell the rights to it. I would like to know how much money he made out of it.
Quite a lot. He
made quite a lot of money out of this film. He claimed it was a reconstruction so that nobody could say, oh, it's all a load of old rubbish. He's saying, well, no, there was an original film, but it's deteriorated. Hats off to Ray Santilli, but I don't think there was ever any real film of aliens being undergoing an autopsy.
It won't surprise you to hear I sit on the other side of this fence. That I think, no, there's too much detail that he just wouldn't have had access to. That he got right. That convinced experts. No, I think he saw something. Genuinely think he saw something, and this is what he's recreated. So I think what we're seeing is all right. It's a recreation, so we can't look at it as being accurate. But nonetheless, I think it's a bit of an indication as to the government having done this autopsy, and I believe the records are out there somewhere that they've of their findings. Time will tell on that. I do acknowledge though that there are suspicious elements to this. Like I say, the fact that he doesn't say which frames, I struggle to get past that one.
Give us a call, Ray. Give us a...
Yeah, do let us know if you're listening, Ray. Like I said, just why he won't say. If there's a perfectly reasonable reason why he won't say which frames they are, then fair enough. That does put me on a bit of a back foot, I'll be honest.
But if presumably the surviving part, once he realised how much had deteriorated, presumably the surviving bits were transferred to some other media, and that they are now hopefully in an MPG or on a website somewhere. If you could, Ray, if you see your way clear, if you could point us in the direction of the original clips, we would be eternally grateful, and I'm sure our listeners will be fascinated.
And of course, in terms of motivation, if he had come up, done this fraudulently, then it's in his interest to say, well, actually, it's a recreation, because it keeps the whole thing, it keeps momentum. Nobody sues him for having provided fraudulent footage. So yeah, I can see how easy it is for people to. But I just think there's too many unanswered questions.
Yeah, but it's a clever double bluff. It's a kind of, we're claiming to solve a mystery or expose a mystery, but actually we're just adding another layer to it.
Yes. Like I say, I do think that there's been some original footage that he's seen, though, that he's based all this on. So between the two of us, the jury's out. I'm perhaps more closer to the middle of this than you, but yeah. But what do you think, listeners? As ever, we want to hear your thoughts, your opinions on the Alien Autopsy. Do let us know by the usual manner. I can't even say it properly. Do let us know by the usual.
Tongues. It's a miracle.
Do let us know by the usual means, Twitter and Facebook, by searching Aliens Explored, or you can visit us at aliensexplored.com. And if you enjoyed listening to this, then please leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, be it Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Pandora or wherever. Leaving us a review helps other people to find this podcast as well. Don't forget to join us next time when we will be posing the same question that David Bowie asked. Is there life on Mars?
I'm looking forward to it.
One to look forward to. There we are. In the meantime, keep watching that old celluloid footage of the skies. Take care.
See you soon. Aliens Explored is a Fecal Films production in association with Juicy Falls. Music by Darren Mafucci and editing by Stu Jackson. Find us on Twitter or Facebook by searching Aliens Explored. or visit us on aliensexplored.com.